All right, we're rolling. Can't Tell Me Nothing podcast. Welcome back. We took a week off. Did we take a week off or?
Yeah, we took a week off because we were trying to get the.
Spotify we took a week off. We took a week off.
Trying to get our shit working so we could be on Spotify.
Cool. We are on Spotify now. We're gonna get Apple working. Make sure you check us out under TCEL Network. That stands for our initial, and then you get both podcasts under that. All right. My name's Try.
My name's Engerson. What's good, y'all?
All right. Since our podcast name is Can't Tell Me Nothing podcast, I'm going to shift gear. We're going to talk about Apple versus Facebook later. But first, we just had to talk about this, so we're going to do a little detour. And there's nothing that they can tell us about this topic, but I think we should talk about it because my boy here is in the position. And the question is, would you rather... If you have, let me backtrack. There's a show on Netflix and it's called Marriage or Mortgage, right? And basically the structure of the house is there's these two ladies. One's a real estate agent. The other one is a person who
a wedding planner.
Right?
Yeah,
so then a couple would go to them with like a budget, for example, $30,000, right? And then the wedding planner would try to convince them that they should spend the $30,000 on the wedding. The real estate would try to convince them the $30,000 is a house payment. And at the end, they decide which one they go with. And there's 10 episodes. And throughout the entire show, I think 7 of them chose the wedding. And I don't understand why they chose that. And we're going to talk about, is that a financially smart decision? So for you as a guy who you just proposed, so congrats. It was very cute. I saw all the photos.
I appreciate it, my guy.
Now you're about to plan a wedding soon. I don't know how soon, if you can even speak about it, but in the scenario,
not too soon, but
probably not too soon.
We're working on it though.
Yeah. Usually like you have like a year or two after the proposal in order to kind of like...
Yeah, we at least gonna wait like a year.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's put yourself in that situation, right? If you have $30,000, would you choose marriage or mortgage? What would you choose and why?
I would convince my girl to take the house. We should just take the house.
Right.
Because we could
why though?
Because if
you gotta give like 3-4 explanation as to why.
Well, think about it. If you just take 30,000 and do my fault. Think about it. If you just take the 30,000,
right,
do a down payment on a house, you could get a house nice. It's also depend. Everything depends on where you live.
Well, actually, change that number. Since we're in Cali, let's go 80,000.
So let's
because the houses are different here.
Yeah, so I
mean, 60. So they
probably have to give you like 60 or 70 for a down payment. So,
right.
Bro, if you got 60 or 70 for a down payment, you could get a nice house.
In Cali, yeah, but yeah, most places you can.
You don't have to go into like bad neighborhood. You could go in a decent neighborhood at least.
Right.
Like you can get that. You can save up for a year and you can still have the wedding that you want and still be able to go home to your own home and not living in
you're not convincing me very well because I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm the boy, hold up. No. Okay, imagine, look at me and my luscious curly hair. So I just got it done. I'm just kidding. But imagine I'm a girl. I really want the fucking wedding. I want the wedding first, and I don't want anything but the wedding. And I won't get married, or like I won't get married unless I won't move in to your house unless we actually get married first. Now, how would you persuade that person from going a different route? Like analytically and financially, like how would you strategize that, like in order to convince them?
Okay, so obviously I'm assuming, I haven't watched this show yet, but I'm assuming on this show all these people are like me, they're engaged, right?
Yeah.
They're not married yet.
Yeah, they're engaged.
Okay. So
and and I don't want to like be sexist or anything like that, but majority of the females would rather prefer the wedding. Just saying. Okay, so based on the show statistic, okay?
Do these people live together already?
They do.
Where do they live at? Do you see
like renting,
house?
Like renting apartment, real rough, real rough. One was like stuffed in a small apartment, like boxes everywhere, fucking no space to walk around. It was rough. I was like, you chose the wedding, really?
So what I would tell my fiance is, if she was saying that she would rather the wedding over the mortgage,
the mortgage, yes,
I would be like, well, let's think about our priorities for a second.
Right.
I'll use my relationship, for example. We have a kid.
Right.
So maybe in like a year or two, our kid's going to be in school.
Right. And how old is the kid right now?
She's 2 right now.
She's 2? Cool. So she got like 2 years left, right? Like they start at like 4, right?
Start preschool at 3.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so let's say, okay, we got a kid, and in a year and a half, 2 years,
right?
She's going to be in school.
Right.
Do you want your child to be, I get that you want your dream wedding or whatever, but do you want your child to be in school in I guess a neighborhood where the schools aren't so great?
Right.
Or would you rather getting this down payment for this house and we move to fucking, let's use LA for example. So we live in Hawthorne. So we use this down payment. Now we move to like fucking Brentwood or somewhere. Now our child's going to school in fucking Brentwood and Beverly Hills.
Oh, whoa, calm down. That's like $1 million.
I'm just saying, like, for an example.
Okay,
I'm just
Lakewood. Let's just go with Lakewood.
Shit, Lakewood schools is better than fucking.
I know it is.
It's better than out there in Hawthorne. So
I know that. We're Lakewood. Like,
get a nice house. They got nice houses in Lakewood.
Let's go price range. Let's go closer to a substantial, reasonable.
Would you rather your kid be going to school in a pretty bad neighborhood where they might not get the best education, or would you rather go into like Lakewood or like Signal Hill,
right?
Cerritos, that area, like that border area where it's like border Long Beach, border OC, where they can probably go to a school and get maybe a little better education compared to what you're gonna get in that specific part of the South Bay. So
right.
We can even get something in Torrance.
Okay, so that's your one argument. What would be your other argument? Not argument, but like your other like way to persuade a person away from the wedding.
My second argument would be, okay, so if we're trying to start a family, I get that you want a wedding, but don't you want to have a home that's ours that we could one day pay off and that we could pass down to our children and they could pass down to their children and so on and so forth? Or you want to keep renting apartments or paying for condos or townhomes or whatever it is?
Now, what if the girl says like, well, like we can still do all that, but like why not have the wedding first? Then we can start saving for a house. And like, what if I don't want to rush into a house yet because it's a big commitment and I want to do the wedding first?
You want to rush into a house because it's a big commitment, but you already said yes to me marrying you.
Oh,
that's the biggest commitment there.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
You already said yes to getting married. There's nothing that's a bigger commitment than marriage.
Right.
A house is not a bigger commitment.
But what about like usually like
on a house is not a bigger commitment than getting married. I don't give a I know houses are expensive, but a marriage is supposed to be like a lifetime thing.
Okay, so what about the argument of like, you know how like after proposal you don't want to wait too long until having a wedding? Some girls just kind of want to have the wedding right away, or maybe some guys just kind of want to have the wedding right away. And you don't want to like extend that like fiance period too long, you know?
Mm-hmm. We get in a house. You can still get married. We could get married right away. Right. It don't have to be an expensive wedding.
All right, let me budge in and do this like like.
And if we're going off of American culture, your parents should be paying for the wedding anyways, not us.
Okay, but that.
So,
but you can't always rely on the parents. Is my thing. I never understood in American culture that the wife parents are always paying.
But the
I didn't
understand
even the parents
should.
Like, what if the parents doesn't pay for the wedding though?
That's fair. Okay, you got to save up to pay for your own wedding. I'm not saying that that's mandatory, but in our culture, usually that's in like American culture, that's usually how it goes. Like usually the bride's parents pay for the wedding or whatever.
Right.
So my thing is
now if that's
the case, if they can't pay for the wedding, and then they see that you're on this show and you're getting either $30,000 for a wedding or $30,000 for a mortgage.
No, it's your own money. You're not getting it from the show. Like the show is just something that brought up discussion, but we're saying like your own money. Imagine
they're
it's your
their own money.
Yeah, imagine like you had that much right now.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather spend it on the wedding or
I would still rather spend it on a house.
Right.
If I had that much, I'd rather get a house because we could do a wedding.
Well, see here, I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna explain it how like I view it. Right. So how I would persuade it is that like there's this thing that's called refi, and I think it's very, very reasonable to use it within the first 2 years of after buying a house.
What is that? Oh, refinance?
A refinance. So basically, if you're a couple who imagine, like, for example, we're living in a townhome right now, right? Me and my girlfriend and a dog. And I'm planning to get married soon, right? But let's say if we have 30,000 or 40,000 as a down payment, right? I would reasonably like to put that down on a house payment because we work so hard to save that significant amount of money, right? And so my personal opinion, I don't really want to get married and then like going back to a rental home, or I don't want to be in a rental home for so long because then I'm constantly worrying about after my contract, how much they were going to raise it.
Exactly.
I'm constantly thinking about like where might I find place to rent next. And if you live in California, you know, the prices are so high that like how much are you willing to keep up with the rent pricing? Now, renting hasn't gone up drastically within the last 5 to 10 years that much. Actually 5 years. It hasn't gone up that much within the last 5 years, right? But so you can always use that 40,000 and take that like take a little like that 40,000, you can take that 40,000 and you can kind of suck it up a little bit. You can put that down on house payment, and then you get your house, right? You go to escrow and all that, and then like a year and a half later, you can refi or do a HELOC, which is a home equity line loan, where you're taking a small chunk of money out of your house as a loan, and then you can use that to do the wedding, and then you can just pay that off monthly. But now after the wedding, you can come back to your own home that you own, not a rental. And if you're in a situation like you and your kid, like it's kind of like important to like not be always on the move, because if you own a home, you're not constantly looking for a home to rent.
Trying to look for somewhere, especially when you got a kid, because
right.
You don't want to be constantly moving them from school to school.
Right.
And you want to be able to go somewhere and be stable.
And now I'm referring back to the show, as in like 7 of the 10 couple chose the wedding. And it's just kind of like the reasoning is like, oh, you know what? Like we just got engaged. So it's like, it's the best time to do the wedding now. We can always get a house later. But I think in where I opposed to that, it's like you can always do the wedding whenever. There's people that get married and have like fucking 5 weddings throughout their whole marriage. Like they can have a re-wedding like every other 10 years. That's the thing, right?
It's not called a re-wedding.
It's a 10 year. It's
renewing your vows.
Yeah, renewing your vow, whatever.
I guess it's. I've never really been to one of them. I guess, but it's basically like a wedding, but it's not really a wedding.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's not really a wedding. But I get what you're saying.
So the thing is like they want to do the wedding now before it's too late. But also like if you do the wedding, then now let's scratch that 30,000 out. You're starting over from scratch, and so like how And
a wedding's not an investment. A house is an investment.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing, like you're not getting back in equity whatsoever. You're not gaining any money whatsoever. If you buy the house, next thing you know, 2 years down the line, your house is worth 40,000 more than what you bought it.
You can sell it and go get a better house.
You can sell it. Yeah, exactly. And also like just because you're buying a house, it's a big commitment. I know that, but there's a lot of people who buying houses and never finish paying. They just sell it and get in different houses. But just by buying a house, now you have a stake in like an asset that you own that is like very substantially like
that's a valuable asset.
Yeah, it's a valuable asset.
Any
that
house is always a valuable asset.
That isn't like a car where like it depreciates as soon as you drive out the lot.
Yeah,
like
it gains money over time.
Yeah, buying a house is basically like investing in stocks. Like, I mean, sometimes stocks go down, but most of the time, like if you invest in the right one, it's gonna go up. And real estate, it's only going to go up, you know.
It's never really going to go down.
Yeah, like people always going to need a roof over their shoulders. So exactly. I just think in my opinion, like the down payment is substantially like a much better financial decision than the wedding. But the thing is, a lot of people value the wedding a lot more. I think nowadays weddings becoming this thing where it's like it's a flex. It's it's something where you can you know, brag amongst your peer that you're getting a wedding and blah 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 blah. But it's just a wedding in itself. Is like there's a bachelorette thing. It's just fucking crazy. Because like if you look at the statistic, I think the average wedding cost, I think it's like 50 grand in America, which is insane. 50 G's. That's like more than most cars. That's definitely a house payment. Like that's definitely like, because you don't need to like put down a 20% down payment. You can put down like a 5% of 10%. You're gonna be paying HOA in California if you're paying that little in down payment. But either way, like it's still a down payment, you know? So I just think like I think it sucks that you got to take the sacrifice and like push back the wedding, but it's just like over the long run, it's just a smarter decision to do, especially if you have kids, or especially if you're in an environment where you're constantly like frustrated with the area you live, which is like right here. I love my fucking place, but I would pay anything to get the fuck away from these fucking kids playing soccer in front of my house, kicking the ball over all the damn time.
Exactly. And see, my thing is, you can if you have 35,000, you and your fiance in a relationship, to go put a down payment on a house, why not go do that? Because you guys can always save up that money for the wedding. And if anything, your family members, people who love you, will help pitch in to help pay for the wedding.
Right. That's
Ain't
another
nobody
thing.
gonna fucking help pitch in to pay for that house though. That's almost like a once, like that's usually like when you got that money to do that, that's like you can save that up again, but it's not gonna be something that's just gonna happen right away. You're gonna have to save up. It's going to take a long time to save up that money that you saved to put a down payment on a house.
Right.
So you should just go do that, because your family, people that love you, will help you when it comes to the wedding.
Right.
If you really need the help.
Yeah.
Like, the push comes to shove, people will help you when it comes to wedding expenses. But when it comes to a house, putting a down payment on a house, not too many people are going to help you with that.
Yeah. I think.
So when you have that money, you should just do it.
I think what it is also is like I think what it is also is like the thinking of like buying a house could be like so stressful for somebody. Like it's just so much paperwork, and it's like it's kind of like this unknown thing. The wedding is like it's fun to plan, you know. It's like easy, and it's like, you know, like America culture and everywhere in this country and the whole around the world kind of put wedding as this like be all end all. Like it's the most important day of your life, and it's
but
like
a wedding is also something that you. All of the planning that comes to the wedding is something that you only do once. When it comes to doing it for yourself, that's something that you usually, like, unless you get divorced and get remarried,
right? Which happens.
That happens, but
which happens a lot.
Point,
you know,
but that's not my point. My point is like when you planning for a wedding, that's something that you do once in your life,
right? So
you're never gonna have to do that again, regardless.
Right. And I feel, and I to that point, and I feel like a lot of people do rush to plan a wedding. Like they want the wedding so fast that they're like rushing. And they're stressing a lot.
But my thing is, you could take your time with that, because it doesn't matter. It's only going to happen once. When it comes to living in places that you're renting that you don't own, every 3 years, every 4 years, you're going to have to deal with that same paperwork over and over again. Which is
or month to month. If you're in a situation where you're paying month to month. And
or even month to month. You're going to have to deal with a lot of paperwork over and over again. Whereas if you just get a house, you're gonna have to deal with this only once, and you won't have to really deal with it ever again unless you go and buy another house or you move or something.
Exactly.
But usually that's the whole point of getting a house. You don't plan on moving. So
and I think another thing is like buying a house is a big commitment, but it's also not like a prison sale or something like that. I think a lot of people get kind of nervous and get scared of the thought of owning a house, and it's like, oh my god, if I buy a house, like I'm locked up forever, and like if some shit goes wrong, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I think like that is not that's the thing. That's not a good mindset, because you can always refi, you can always sell your house, you can always change. There's always route in order to get out if you're in some sort of trouble while owning a house. Yeah, there's foreclosed. Like, sure, like you don't. That's like Plan Z. But if it happens, it happens. You know, so I think it's definitely a little bit more flexible than people think. Just after buying a home.
Well, see, I thought the concept of the show was like the show gives you the money to do it. But
no. It's their own money.
So if they're doing it with their own money, then yes, you should be buying a house. Obviously, it's something that's in your means that you can afford to pay monthly. But
so yeah,
that's still a better. I still think that's a better fucking option than paying for taking that $30,000 and spending it on a wedding.
Yeah, for me and you, it's like a no-brainer. It's like, okay, mortgage, let's go and get the marriage after you get the house. But like, as I watched the show, I'm like, oh, like they all fucking chose the wedding. I mean, most of them chose the wedding, and it was like kind of crazy because I don't even think the wedding planner did a very good job at persuading them. Like after the real estate just show a house and they're like fucking loving the house, and then the fucking wedding planner. And I'm like, you go with the fucking, but also it's like people
don't understand. If you own a house that you're paying a mortgage on, you can get married in your shit and have a party, and you ain't got to worry about. A
lot of people don't want to get married in that house though. It's the thing because they want that.
If I had a nice house, like a 2-story house that was nice, I would be getting and had a nice backyard, a big backyard. They don't even got to be a big ass backyard, but just a nice sized backyard. I would get married in it. Why not? You at home with your family, everybody can come there. You don't got to worry about fucking spending money on a location.
No, see, but the thing is,
everybody can feel comfortable. You don't got to worry about like random strangers just like wandering by or whatever, ruining it. You in the safety of your own home and backyard. You could party for as long as you want. It won't get shut down because you at your house.
Right.
If anybody's drunk and they can't drive home, they could sleep on the couch. They don't have to have their car stuck at some random lot or something.
No, I agree. I agree with that too. But also, like, there's a lot of people like. There's a lot of girls that don't want to get married in the house. They want that fucking spot at the cliff in the Malibu or in a nice place.
No, that's fair. I agree.
You know, like they want nice places. So it's like I think a lot of us dudes are a little frugal and rightfully so.
Well, even
like,
if you don't get married at your house,
we're not out here with a lot of money. You know, so
you can have all the after wedding shit, like the reception and everything, at your house instead of spending. I mean, not even being frugal. Like it's just more convenient. Everybody feels more home. Everybody's more comfortable.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, not a lot of people like that.
No, you're right.
You know, like, not a lot of people want that. Even guys too. Not a lot of guys. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that probably wanted like that big wedding and all that. But at the end of the day, I think like a wedding is becoming a flex, like I say. But also like you kind of have to go with what your budget is.
What's the definition of a big wedding?
A big wedding
because a big wedding doesn't mean it has to be at some fucking extravagant resort. A big wedding is what. I thought a big wedding is like what you make it to be like.
Oh, well, that's not a lot of. That's okay. That's not how a lot of people view what a big wedding is. A big wedding would be like 200 people, a nice venue with like food and a bar that's unlimited drinks.
You really know 200 people that you want to come to your wedding?
I don't. But I'm just saying, like, there's people that want that. You know, like I used to work at the Marriott, bro.
Nigga, not everybody is a celebrity. You know, 200 people that are gonna. Bro, I'm like, there was 200 people that are gonna come to your wedding.
Bro, there was many.
And I'm not just talking about just family members, like friends and shit. Y'all know 200 people.
Bro. I used to work at the Marriott. There's used to have weddings with like 300-400 people, and there's some wedding where they booked the entire floor. Like all those rooms are reserved for people who's at the wedding, and they have their little cocktail hours, then they have their little thing, and then they have the big party at the end, and then they have the after party, and it's like a whole 3-day event. Like they check in like on Thursday night, they're there Friday partying, just drinking, having like meetups, and also like reservation at the restaurant, and then Saturday is the party, and then Sunday they would chill out in the pool still, and then fucking leave Monday. Like there's weddings that cost like hundreds of thousands.
Okay, I get that, but okay, I guess you can't have 200 people at your house, depending on how big your.
That's if you're balling. That's if you're balling. Yeah,
depends how big your house is at that point.
Right,
your house is big enough to. I mean, I'm not saying
I'm gonna cut some friends on mine and be like, you know what, it's just a close one. We ain't trying to have too many people here.
I for sure don't think I know 200 people that's gonna be. I mean, it probably could be,
right. But is your girl family
so.
that big though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be that.
Yeah, it might be.
Fuck.
Bro, you're gonna have an Indian wedding. You know how big Indian wedding be?
Yeah.
Bro, they're huge.
I've heard.
Huh?
I've heard.
They're huge, bro. I've witnessed
heard.
so many Indian weddings at when I was working at Marriott. They're massive, like massive.
I hope it's not massive,
bro. Like
Pause.
So many kids running around. Everybody seems to have like 8 kids in their families.
Thank God my girl's family don't have that many like young children,
bro.
All the kids are like our age.
I've never witnessed I worked at the hotel.
Yeah, everybody in my girl's family, most of the kids. It's a couple, like toddlers and younger kids. But most of them are like our age in their 20s. So
I've never witnessed a small Indian wedding. I've never witnessed a small Indian wedding in my life. Never.
Well, we can be getting drunk at our wedding, at my wedding.
I know. Hopefully.
So, yeah, all the people that.
And I'm gonna come early so I can get the I don't have to eat all the vegetarian food.
No, we're gonna have vegetarian food. We're gonna have a lot of that, but we're gonna have mix.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to
not gonna just want vegetarian food.
Yeah, so
more like meat.
So going back to the mortgage and back to the mortgage or marriage, just like to me to us is a no brainer for to do the mortgage. But man, the wedding industry is big here. Some of us might have a difficult time arguing that with their girl. I know I got a rough time.
I think my girl would.
I got a rough time with Nicole here.
I think my girl would be on my side. I think she'd be like, "Nah, let's just get the house. We could do the wedding anytime."
Yeah, it ain't like that with everybody. So
I got
a hill to climb.
A house is a house, man. If I could get a house, if I got the money to get a house, fuck that wedding. We could get married. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But a house is like a once in a lifetime thing.
Exactly. And right now, fuck. You got a kid, so you need all the space you can get. You need an extra room. You need a yard. You need, maybe a garage. You don't want to be fucking parking so far because you live in an apartment complex.
Well, we get parking 2 spots, but still, that's not the point. Yeah. Saying. Yeah, I want to be able to park at my house. Right, fucking 2 blocks down. And also to move out of Hawthorne. You don't want to be let's say if you're in a neighborhood that isn't so great, at any fucking point of at any chance you have to get the fuck out, you have to get the fuck out. Exactly. No.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how my girl feels. So I'm glad that we both feel exactly the same way.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Not saying that my area is that bad, but at any point if I can get the fuck out, you sure bet I'm getting the fuck out.
I got the chance to move to an area that's better and I could get a house, then yes, I'm out of there.
Right, and you have to think about school, so that's a big thing. I don't have to think about school, but for parents, that's fucking huge because you don't want to put your kids in the losing.
Yeah, that's my.
You don't want your kid to be going to losing girl. Now, there's nothing wrong with losing girl. You can still be successful no matter what school you go to. But as a parent,
I'd rather put her in a situation where that's true. You're not lying, but I'd rather put her in a situation where she's gonna have the best advantage. Look what white people do. They put their kids in a situation where they have the best advantage.
There's nothing wrong with moving out the hood. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it doesn't mean you a sellout. If you got money to move out the hood, you move.
If I'm a sellout, I'm gone.
Right. But then once you move the fuck out, you can't be talking like you're in hood anymore. You just be like, I'm grateful to be out here. I ain't gonna act like I'm in a bad.
You gotta still remember where you came from.
Yeah. Not like LeBum, he's living in Brentwood, still acting like he afraid, bro. You never got a ticket in your life, okay?
Don't do that. He from Akron. It's actually tough out there.
Yeah, but not anymore.
In Ohio is shitty.
He's living in Brentwood.
Oh yeah, I know. I'll be driving by his house when I be doing Uber Eats. Bro, that shit is humongous.
I bet.
That shit
I bet. Is it gated? I hope.
I think
gated.
So. Yeah, it's gated.
Shit. He better be.
If I'm correct.
It better be double gated.
If it was the shit I seen when I just randomly Googled it that one time.
Why would you Google where he lives?
Cause I seen a big ass house, and when I was up there,
I was
actually in Beverly Hills, in the hills.
Uh-huh.
So I was like LeBron's Beverly Hill mansion. I looked at the picture showed, and it looked exactly like that house. I was like, okay, so this has that should I know that mansion. When I drive up there, when I be delivering food over there, I know that mansion is for it has to be for someone.
How do you know it's LeBron though?
Bro, because that shit takes the mansions when you drive into Beverly Hills, when you go through the gates into the Beverly Hills community up in the actual hills, in the canyons and shit. The mansions there be they'll take maybe your whole townhouse and
Right.
the whole like townhouse next. So like this one, and then
Yep.
the people next door, and then the whole 2 units over here next door. So basically these 4 units right here.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron should take up damn near this whole fucking like quadrant.
Oh, I bet.
That shit is humongous.
He gotta have like at least a Tony Core garage.
Bro, if that shit was on, I know it's LeBron's because when I looked at the picture and I seen it and I seen like the entrance, I was like, bro, that shit is. The entrance looked the same. And that shit is so big, bro. If it was like on a normal street like here, that should have probably take up like 5 blocks. That's how big that shit. That shit is humongous. I'm talking about, bro. That shit is.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Pause, but that shit
I wouldn't fucking doubt it.
Extremely big.
I never been to Brentwood. I was like, I'm staying away for that. If I do want to go look at rich people houses, I go down to Laguna just because I just like the environment down there. I don't know why. It's like,
yeah, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down.
It's
there
like beachy vibe.
Next couple weeks.
It's like beachy
when
vibe.
we go back to San Diego, I'm gonna go down there to Laguna.
Oh, San Diego. The best places to look at just nice people, nice rich people houses. Just to look at rich people houses. Is Coronado Beach. So you know how like you got to take the bridge, you got to cross that bridge in order to get to the Coronado beach. It's always fucking packed. All the time I go there, it's fucking packed. But
yeah,
like
I'm not. I know what beach you're talking about.
All the houses there, fire. Like I would live like I would.
They're on the beach. They're like beach houses. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're like on the beach houses, but it's like it's pretty spacious. And everybody got a pretty good yard. It's not hill. It's not hilly like Manhattan Beach or something where it's like a bunch of fucking hills and it's tight. It's like kind of spaced out, but it's like right by the beach. And there's like a bunch of resort like around the Coronado little island. So it's the best fucking place to be.
I think AD just got hurt again, man. He fucking tripped over the little billboards on the sideline. Like the ones that change and show all the ads.
He's so fucking clumsy. All right, you want to transition into our topic that we kind of like did a little study on? Yeah, let's talk about speaking of rich people. Facebook. Speaking of rich people, so like two of the richest company, Facebook and Apple. I don't know if you heard this, but it's kind of been a few that kind of date back to all the way when Steve Jobs was still around. And he's kind of he always talk about like privacy. I know nowadays, I think like we don't take that as serious as I think. No, I'll take that back. There's a lot of people who take privacy serious, and then there's a lot of people who's like, I don't really give a fuck what I do with my data, right? So there's like
I kind of don't, but at the same time I do.
Right. Okay. So let's go into the backtrack of the story. So Apple and Facebook is not seeing eye to eye because of the new Apple iOS 14 update, right? So to cover the update is called the is the iOS 14.5, and there's this new system that's called that's ATT, right? It's App Tracking Transparency, and basically what Apple is trying to do is create a way where you can opt out of apps that will ultimately track your data. Right, so for
basically like opt out of sharing your data.
Right.
Okay.
So
I turned it off.
For most people who don't know how like apps tend to track people, what they normally do is once you download an app or you go on a website or something, the app or the website will then try to find your IDFA, which is your identifier for advertised code. Now, every phone has an IDFA. Now, once an app gets their hands on the IDFA, basically they unlock all of your data. Like, so now...
Hold on. To put it into terms for stupid people like me, basically what that means is, you know those weird moments where you be like, damn, I really want to give me some more Vans. And then you go on Instagram and you scrolling down and all of a sudden you just see a Vans ad.
Right.
That's basically why, because the data that the apps be sharing with the apps that they be sharing with these companies and shit, so they can get you to buy stuff. So that's basically the stupid version of what he just said.
Right. So if you just to kind of like explain what iOS 14.5 does is the new update ultimately block your IDFA from the apps obtaining it. Now, specifically Facebook, because Facebook will then always obtain your IDFA. And after that, basically all your information is now handed to Facebook. And now what the new iOS 14.5 does is that it blocks that. So now Facebook can't get your IDFA, because your IDFA basically has your user ID, has your login information, your email, your phone number, your address, and all sorts of things that, you know,
your history, like the shit that you bought, your what was the shit you told me, like it tracks your income basically, so it knows how much you make.
I'll get into the Facebook. I'll get into the Facebook side, but basically, yeah, what it is Apple is on this thing where, you know, they've done a lot of shady shit. Not gonna say like Apple isn't, you know, is like the heaven all be all end all and never done anything wrong. You know, they have the thing where they update your phone and make sure all the old phone doesn't work, so that you are forced to buy a new phone.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they have that shit going on.
Shit, and the new phones be busting though.
Huh?
The new phones be lit though.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be up. The 13's about to come out, but that's another topic for another day. So this new update doesn't, like, you know, take away from what Facebook is trying to do as a model, which is collect as much data as from people as possible in order to sell to advertisers. That's their entire business model, right? So this update's only giving you the chance to opt in or opt out. Now, if you want to opt in and be like, hey, you know what? I don't really give a fuck about my data, and I will allow this specific app or that specific app in order to track my data. Now, if you don't want that, you can opt out and be like, no, this app isn't allowed to obtain my IDFA, which is your identifier for advertised code. You can also do that. So
here's my thing. When it tracks the, because I'm not really sure about this. So when it tracks the data, like, what does it really track?
Okay, so for
because that's what people really think. They think it's like tracking their location, like just basically like stalking you in a sense.
Right.
Does it really do weird shit like that when you're getting your data shared, or is it just tracking like your purchases, seeing stuff that you might be interested in buying? So
Facebook, right? It's a free app. And a lot of people fucking use it. Now, it owns a lot of things. It owns Instagram, WhatsApp, and all that. I mean, I'll get into WhatsApp, right? But in order for Facebook to make money, they need all your data, and they use that data in order to sell to advertisers and companies, right? And companies need all the information they can get from people in order to feed them what they think they want, right? So Facebook, if you download anything from Facebook now, once they are able to obtain your IDFA, Facebook can track your physical address, your email, your name, your phone number, your user ID, your device ID, your purchase history, your financial information, your precise location, your contacts, your photos, your videos, your gameplay data, your search history, your crash, your browse data, your performance data, and etc. So literally,
that's kind of creepy, but they're gonna just find a lot of porn online.
Yeah, no, I mean,
that's kind of creepy. Still,
it's creepy. Like, we all know this. We all know they track us based on like the shit that we would see, like, you know, advertiser where we're like, dude, we just talk about it, and this shit happened to be on the app.
That literally happened to me a couple weeks ago with the homies. We was talking about some shit in the Xbox party, and I pulled up my phone, you know. We was talking about Adobe Premiere.
Right.
And I was on Instagram, and as soon as I opened Instagram, I seen one post like from someone I follow. Scrolled down, the first sponsor that was Adobe Premiere. I said, okay, I'm turning Siri off on my phone. Right now. I turned everything off. I was like, yeah, I'm creeped out now.
Yeah, no. So it kind of brings up this topic. It's like, do you care about your data? And like, you know, at the end of the day, like, we think they're selling us something, but I think what's really happening is that, like, the products that they're trying to sell us isn't ultimately their moneymaker. Like, we are the product.
Yeah,
we are the people who makes them the money. So it's like, I think a lot of us don't really give a fuck. I think a lot of people think it's convenient. You know, there's a lot of people like, oh, there's the shit that I want, and it's just happened to be right there.
Okay, but if I really want the shit, I can go on the
search it yourself.
And search it myself. I don't need you guys to put it in my face because you think I might want it right now. Because I've never, even when I do have money to buy shit, I've never seen an ad on Instagram and like, you know what? I needed this. Actually, I happen to really need this.
Right.
So I'm gonna just click on this link. No, if I really want it, I'm gonna just go Google search it or go to that company's website and buy it from there, or go inside the store.
I'm on that same boat. I'm just at the point where it's like, I use this analogy of like when we watch TV and there's just a bunch of ads that we don't give a fuck about. We just want our show to show up.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. It's like now I'm going on apps and I'm like, dude, I don't really give a fuck about these advertisements. I have to scroll more in order to get to where I want to be. And it's like, now the one fucked up point about Facebook is that there's a lot of update throughout the years, right? And if you don't opt in to accepting their new criteria, you're not allowed to use their apps anymore. You know? So for example,
that's the same thing with Instagram?
Yes. Not Instagram, but I know this for a fact is WhatsApp. Have you heard of WhatsApp? So WhatsApp used to be not owned by Facebook, right? But in 2014, Facebook bought WhatsApp, right? And at the time, it has 2 billion users. And it was like very global. It's very big in Southeast Asia, very big in the Middle East.
It's like a text app like Kick?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So now when Facebook bought the app, right, then once it took them 2 years to integrate themselves, right? But once they're fully integrated, there was a option for user where it's like, hey, like if you want to continue using WhatsApp, you have to accept this new standard where you have to accept that, you're allowing Facebook to track you and da. And if you don't accept it, then you're no longer to use the WhatsApp. So once this happened, a lot of people moved to Signal and Telegram, which is another messenger app, right? And
that's almost similar to what Apple does. Like, they always track your location. So even if you turn your location services off, you can't use GPS, and certain apps you can't use.
Right. And so
you have to have it on.
And so
they always track you.
And so once the integration happened, starting in 2016, everything that happened on the WhatsApp were now linked with Facebook. So Facebook was able to grab every single data from WhatsApp. So all the conversation that people had on WhatsApp, they were able to pull that, their information, their history, and all that jazz that I named. Now everything that WhatsApp has is on Facebook. Now, with most of it is really without consent, because in the court they said that never happened, that never took place. They never took all the data from WhatsApp, but it was then later on found out that all of the data from WhatsApp was transferred to Facebook, and Facebook had full control of the data of the user. Now, what's so fucking crazy is that there's a lot of people that fucking freak the fuck out, which is why they went to Signal and Telegram and all that. But if you had WhatsApp in 2016, and if you deleted the app, somehow Facebook still had your data, which is according to study that a lot of WhatsApp user data were still in the hands of Facebook, even if they decided to delete the app.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing with Snapchat. Everything you ever sent through Snapchat, they still have that even if you delete your profile.
Right. So
all those pictures you sent, that even if they delete for you and the person you sent them to, they still fucking exist in Snapchat's database.
Right. And so this whole war between Facebook and Apple has gone really far, because Facebook has always been saying, like, you know what, Apple has always trying to fight us on this. Like they try to fight us on our bunch of platforms, countering by having their own platform, and they use iMessenger as an app that try to compete directly with WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, all that. And so it's like this big back and forth battle between the two big tech bros, tech gods, whatever you want to call it. And it's at a standstill, where it's Facebook can't really function their business. And according to studies and research, that once
they can.
No, well, they still can. They're not going out of business. But according to one of their CEO, that with the study that they did is after the iOS update, they are projected that a lot of people will opt out and won't allow Facebook to use the data, and they're slated to lose a shit ton of business due to the update. And also, so they came out with a statement saying Apple is really fucked up, and they're doing this, and essentially what they're doing is only hurting small businesses, because small businesses use us in order to advertise to the people. And if you take away this, if you take away the access, if you take away our access to people's data, how can small businesses use our function in order to advertise their product? It's their
because small businesses can still use your app to advertise the product, because when you make an Instagram, when you make a Facebook, when you even Twitter, the shit that's not part of Facebook, when you make any of these social media accounts where they try to send these ads your way, even like with Google uses your location. These apps, they ask you for where you live. You have to put your zip code in so they know that you're from. So example, from Hawthorne, I'm using 90250. And on Instagram, Facebook, they're gonna know that I'm from Hawthorne. So if anything, even if I'm not sharing my data, the least they can do is be like, okay, so a small business in this area is trying to put an ad on our website, so we could just show it to anybody that we know that's a member that put their area code as
right. But I think
90250.
But I think you're just thinking that on the surface of just like location. But Facebook and how they use data to advertise is
but why do you need that deeper, intricate stuff?
Well,
do you really need it?
Based on Mark Zuckerberg, yes, they do need it.
They don't need it. They don't.
No,
really don't.
But they came out and said it.
But advertising has worked way before we started using customers' data and tracking them, and using their location to see where they're at and their income.
One of the Facebook.
So why do you need it now?
No. They always needed it. Now they can't have it. Now they're bugging because they can't have it.
I'm talking about before social media and before this area where we're more like high tech than we've ever been.
Are you talking about on the small business end, or are you talking about Facebook end?
Just in general, advertising we've never tracked. Like this is new with the internet stuff.
But I think you're missing the point of where Facebook is coming at it. It's like that is their whole model. So by Apple developing this update, it fucks with their model.
Okay, but it's a weird model to have, because you're basically stalking people.
Right, exactly. Even
if you're not doing nothing bad with that information, you are basically stalking people.
But yes, no. So
I don't want to not fully, but in a sense, yes.
No, so I do agree with Apple, but it is what it is. This is Facebook model. Like there's no we can sit here and be like, why is that your model? But that is their model, because they came out and said like, hey, we're going to lose substantially a lot of money, and our shareholders not going to be happy because you're fucking with our business model. And look, if you don't stop Apple from doing this, we have to potentially charge people for using Facebook. Like now, you know how Facebook is free? Mm-hmm. Well, they're kind of like threatening Apple, where it's like, yo, like if you don't fix this issue, like we're going to have to ultimately charge people in order to even use our platform, because then we can't make this.
I don't use Facebook anyway, so
I know, but you use Instagram.
I don't need it. I can go on Twitter.
All right, well, I mean,
I got to make a Tumblr.
But there's
post pics.
But there's a lot of.
I still got Snapchat. Well,
Snapchat
is owned by Facebook.
I mean, but that's you though. Like, you know, like maybe you can find your loophole way around it, but there's a lot of business.
Yeah, no, I get that. Not everybody can.
Not everybody can, because it's kind of like Facebook, Twitter, Google, and Apple. It's like a monopoly. Like you kind of have to depend on all of this, because they over the years they like bought out all the other fucking companies. So it's like all the other fucking shit you use might just be owned by Facebook.
Exactly. But the thing is, Facebook they have a way to make that money without having to charge people. It won't come to that, but they just want to try to threaten.
No. Yeah, no, they're definitely using the strong arm tactic.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work because Apple's fucking Apple.
It's Apple.
Like,
everybody loves Steve Jobs. Rest in peace.
Yeah, and then everybody loves Tim Cook, and then also
Tim Cook pretty solid too.
But the guy who kind of spearhead this whole privacy, and he's really the guy in charge, is Craig Federici, and he's the one that's like really kind of driving down the privacy sector of this whole thing. And so it's kind of gonna be like real intrigued to see how this plan out, just because the update just kind of launched not so long ago. So like we will see how Facebook like managed to go away this, because they do have a lot of Android user, and Android hasn't done that. So, you know, Apple always kind of be like the first of all the companies. So imagine
Apple's the trendsetter.
Yeah. Imagine now Android comes out and say there's Samsung or whatever it is, and like all the fucking platforms are doing this. Like that's gonna hurt Facebook
That would never
a lot.
happen with Androids because Android and all those are usually owned by Google.
Yeah,
and Google's never gonna stop tracking our data because it's Google. So
yeah, Google need that shit, but
they need that shit more than Facebook.
See, my thing is like I don't really care necessarily that much, but also like. I do like sure you can get my name, sure you can get my email address, sure you can get my number, but once you start getting into like my
location, my income,
my financial,
that shit is kind of weird,
right? So what if you get hacked and like now people know my financial, my credit card number and all that, like
my login information, shit, right? Yeah,
exactly. And so tricky. Like now we have like stocks account, we have crypto accounts. So like what if hackers can use my like IDFA in order to get into my wallet,
accounts.
My savings account. So it's like, I think a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it gets tricky.
Right.
It gets tricky. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if you guys really need to be taking off. It's certain data I don't give a fuck if y'all take, but it's certain data I'm like, okay, why do you really need this? There's no real reason for you. Like if I'm going to buy some shit, you can, maybe recent purchases, maybe I'm not too mad at that because if you want to use it to like show ads. Right. That pertain to shit that I might buy, even though I don't give a fuck about shit like that anyways, because I'm not going to buy it off of a social media. But still, I can see that. But as far as like fucking income and login information and all that other shit that you don't need, location, I don't know why you would
gameplay
really need that.
Data.
Yeah, I don't know why you would need shit like that.
Gameplay data. And what else did I say that was fucking kind of gnarly? Give me a second. Gameplay data, crash and search history and performance history. Basically, essentially what it is like what are like your most intrigued stuff that they can find throughout the app. Also like they'll read through all the text messages, so anything you text, they ultimately will collect that data, especially on WhatsApp. Like all your conversation will essentially use as a way for advertiser to.
If you're doing illegal stuff, I don't do illegal stuff, but if you're doing illegal stuff, that will
really fuck you up. Yeah,
burning you out in a sense.
And another thing is like now, like they have all this data, so like if once the government come knocking, like all right, well, no, you're just open.
Yeah, because then I could see just people now wanting to have their information being shared, but like if you're someone who's doing some illegal shit, all the government has to do is come to one of these apps and ask for that data, and that's like not even fair. Like you don't even get you shouldn't be doing illegal shit anyway.
Yeah, you shouldn't. But
but I mean, come on now. Like you're not even giving people a fair chance to like fight in court.
Right. And the one thing is like to shut people out from using your app if they decline to accept these kind of rules and stuff. It's kind of wild. Like you shouldn't. Like maybe
at least give them like a downgraded version, but to shut them out completely,
shut them out completely and say like, hey, like you're not allowed unless you accept.
I mean, that's gonna fuck your money, that app's money up in the end run,
right?
There's less users, because there's gonna be a lot of people who don't agree to sharing their information.
Right, and going back to Facebook and Apple, like Facebook is a huge company, but I think now like Apple is becoming such a cult in itself, where it's like Apple users are always gonna be diehard Apple. Like I have a Mac, I have. My phone's Apple, like there's no way I'm siding with Facebook on this end, and no way like will I side with collecting all my personal data that I don't wish to share. So if you don't know anything about the new iOS update, get onto it, because then you can go through and you can choose to opt in or opt out on any app of your choice. You can do it
for all apps or specific apps.
Yeah.
Depends on what you want to do.
So I think people should really take advantage of that.
I just did all apps for now.
Yeah, I did all apps as well. So I have a lot of shit that I definitely don't want people. Like it's not like that I care, but I do care the fact that I don't want companies to know, because you never know how well their system is secured. So
exactly.
And also I'm sick and tired of seeing ads that I really don't give a fuck about. I'd rather just search it on my own. You know?
Yeah, if I want to search it, I could search it. If it's something local, I've probably seen it before in person, so I don't need you to show me an ad for it on Instagram.
And also, I don't think we talked about this, but when the algorithm starts to do this shit, like they kind of put us in a bubble where it's like now hard to kind of like lynch out of the bubble because you're only seeing the shit that you're known or
I
you're
barely even
accustomed
see
to.
fucking posts from people I follow on Instagram. I see more posts from like celebrities, or not even like celebrities, like fucking like sponsored ads. Well, yeah, celebrities and like sponsored ads. I don't even see posts from people I follow or just like average posts.
Friends that you fucking haven't seen in months, but they just post, but it's not gonna be at the top, you know. So it's
you
like
gotta just keep scrolling to eventually find it's gonna be nothing but like the shit that they want you to see.
Sometimes now it's like hashtag stuffs are on your feed.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
like it's getting excessive. Like
I just start muting shit now.
Right. Yeah, man. I don't know. So I highly encourage people to use that because your IDFA is very important. And if you don't know what IDFA is, I'm going to repeat that again. Is your identifier for advertiser code. Now, you don't want, you kind of want to take that serious if you don't want your data out there. If you do want your data out there, then yeah, just go along with your life, you know? So do nothing. If you don't care, this segment of the podcast is cool to listen to, but you don't have to continue to make changes in your life or whatever. But yeah, I think this is it for the podcast this week. My name is Try.
My name is Engerson. You guys already know.
Like, subscribe. Make sure you like, subscribe. This is Can't Tell Me None podcast. It's gonna come out on Saturday. Benchwarming reports every Tuesdays and Fridays. So make sure y'all tune in.
What did you just say?
Tune in, and we'll see y'all next time.